thank you for having me. I'm Ed Gesvoda. I'm co-inventor of a water cremation process. I actually ran the first two systems in my own funeral home. So what I'm sharing with you today isn't theory, it's what I've learned building and operating these machines day to day. My goal in the next 30 minutes is to help you ask the right questions, not sell you anything. By the end, you'll know more about how to evaluate any water cremation vendor, including me. This slide is really for you because you already live this. Your families don't experience care and aftercare as separate things. It's all one journey. How a pet is treated after death is part of the dignity you've already been providing. And increasingly, families are coming to you and asking, what happens next? They're asking you because you're the trusted voice in that moment. Water cremation is one answer worth understanding and worth being prepared to explain. I want to tell you where I came from because it matters. In 2011, I sold the very first human alkaline hydrolysis system to a funeral director. I had it manufactured by Bioresponse Solutions. They now make a trademark system called Aquamation. I wanted to believe in alkaline hydrolysis and the benefits it would bring to the world. I was shocked when the system left brain in 4 out of 9 bodies. When I saw that, I knew something fundamentally was wrong with the process. Water and alkaline alone were not enough. I shut my business down. I came back in this field in 2019, not because I saw an opportunity, but because I kept watching the same problems repeat themselves. Different vendors, same failures. Families deserve better. So in 2019, we started over. We brought in literally rocket system engineers and biochemistry professors. We asked them to solve this problem. What would it take to make the process actually work every single time? This is a picture of Jeff Edwards and myself. That was my first system that had all the problems. And this is some mice that I did back in 2019, trying to come up with a process that actually worked. And this is one of my favorite pictures. This is a test system, and that's a squirrel that had been killed, and we ended up, this is partly in the process of alkaline hydrolysis. So first, let's do a quick baseline before we get into water cremation 2.0. Alkaline hydrolysis uses water, alkali, heat, and agitation instead of flame. It accelerates the same natural process breakdown that occurs via autolysis. What I want to talk to you about is what is the next generation of this process actually looks like and why it's fundamentally different. This is a picture taken last year from a system. You can see it's not a complete dissolution. There's brains, there's marrow. It's kind of a mess. So we ended up coming up with 3 ingredients that actually work. So we use warm water at 160 degrees Fahrenheit, potassium hydroxide only as the alkali, and alcohol as the co-solvent. That third ingredient, the alcohol, is the key. It's what makes this patented. In about 4 hours, the dissolution of all organic tissue and fats is completed, leaving only clean mineral bone and sterile essence. What comes back to the family is clean mineral bone and optionally the pet's essence for a burial. At my funeral home, half the families I served kept both the bones and the essence for a burial without a coffin or cemetery plot. Yes, our system does humans. Compare that to the first generation systems running 16 hours at higher temperatures. We'll get into that in a side-by-side in a moment. So this is human remains at the end of a process. Look at all the sandy bones. They're typically 30 to 50% of the process. And look how hollow the bones are after our process. There's no marrow on them. There's no fat on the bones. Here's the core of it. Water and alkali don't dissolve fat well. I actually wrote a paper on this. In the first generation systems, fatty tissue and marrow can remain in the chamber. Operators compensate with higher heat, super long cycles, and harsh degreasers like ZEP Purple. The alcohol in our process handles what the alkali can't. It breaks down fats through saponification. The reaction completes, no fat, no marrow, no brain tissues left behind. And that allows the whole process to run 20% cooler, use far less water, and finish 4 times faster. No degreaser needed. Oops. Here's a side-by-side comparison. First generation systems, including my first system, 16 plus hours, higher heat, high water use, fat and tissue can remain, degreaser required, and baskets are required, but you can see the sandy bones would just pop out. Water cremation 2.0, about 4 hours, 160 degrees Fahrenheit, roughly 95% less water. We use 34% of the pet's weight in water versus hundreds of gallons. You get a complete dissolution every time. No degreaser, no baskets. Think about what 95% less water means at scale. Think about what 4 hours versus 16 hours means for your staff's day. That's an incremental improvement. It's fundamentally different process. So here's, oops, okay. Because the fats convert to glycerin during the cycle, the chamber is completely clean after every run. No carryover between pets. Each animal goes into a fully clean chamber in a polypropylene bag. No basket dripping, no commingling concerns. And your staff doesn't have to scrape or degrease anything. Clean workflow, more dignified process, less for people to handle. These are pictures of dogs and cats in a prototype polypropylene bag. Before I move on to the family experience and business case, I want to stop here for a moment. You're all working with families. Oops. You're all working with families. I want to check in. What families in your practice actually asking for about end of life options? Are water cremations questions coming up? Please write your answer in the chat. Well, this matters. This shows that people are asking about water cremation. The environmental case is not a slogan. It's built into the chemistry. About 95% less water per cycle than first generation systems. 4 times faster means lower energy per pet, zero smokestack emissions, no smokestack, no air quality permits, no filtration equipment to install or maintain. For practices that attract clients who care about sustainability, this is a real differentiator. You can stand behind, not greenwashing, real chemistry. From an operator standpoint, a 4 to 6 hour cycle means you can run multiple cycles in a single day from the same footprint. No difficult baskets to lift, no concerns about incomplete dissolution. We use liquid alkali rather than KOH flake. It's safer and easier to handle. And we neutralize with acetic acid, which reacts to form potassium acetate, a natural plant biostimulant. We solved the last remaining problem with alkaline hydrolysis, the ammonia odor that's produced during the process by including a wet scrubber with each system. The demand side is real and accelerating. Millennials and Gen Z are the dominant pet owning generation right now, and they actively seek providers whose values align with theirs. They want eco-friendly options that don't compromise dignity or respect. And increasingly, they're asking about water cremation before they choose a provider. Being able to say yes to a question is a competitive advantage. This isn't experimental. Alkaline hydrolysis is running in every day. The only byproducts are clean mineral bones and sterile liquid, no DNA, no pathogens, no tissue. And the liquid from our process is rich in potassium acetate. It can be returned to the earth as a soil biostimulant, completing the natural cycle. In Colorado, the human essence is applied to fields. So during the fall and winter, it's collected in IBC totes. And in the spring, it's worth about $10 a gallon to farmers. It's spread on fields here in Colorado. This is a picture of our newest system. It actually did 2 humans yesterday in Oregon. So if you know anyone who's dying in Oregon, I can send you to Aquaceris. You belong to a great organization, right, Colleen, that lists innovation as one of your core values. This is a way to live it. Early adopters in this space are seen as leaders. Offering water cremation draws environmentally friendly conscious clients who are already looking for it. It deepens trust by signaling a real commitment to animal welfare and the planet, and it positions your practice ahead of a shift that's already underway. If you're interested in offering water cremation, which I assume you are by being here, bring these questions to any vendor, including me. First, are you allowed to operate an alkaline hydrolysis unit at your location? A lot of times zoning will prevent you from even operating a system like this. So just make sure. Regulations vary, and that matters above all else. Second, can your local sewer authority accept the effluent? If so, get it in writing. Verbal approval isn't enough. Get it documented. The wastewater treatment systems are concerned about some of the components in the effluent. There's high BOD, which is biological oxygen demand, and chemical oxygen demand. So, and they typically have limits on that. And then some jurisdictions have completely disallowed any effluent from alkaline hydrolysis systems going down the sewer. So you want to make sure that you're safe there before you purchase a system. And then what is the installing the system actually require? What space is required? Do you have the space for it? Do you have the water supply? I assume you do. Power. Some of these systems require three-phase power. Make sure that you've got the proper electrical power to do it. And then you need to be able to drain it. Get the full picture before you commit to a location if you're looking to set up a new facility. And then ask for evidence that the cycle reliably renders effluent sterile. So a lot of times the wastewater treatment system might require you to send some effluent to an independent lab for testing. So do that. Just don't take the vendor's word. Fifth, talk to operators. Go see a system run from start to finish. Seeing is believing. You'll be investing a lot of money in a system. It's worth making a couple trips out to see actual operations going in place, how the pet's loaded, what remains in there, how long does it take, what are the odors that are given off. All these things you should experience because there are some other vendors out there, and just pick the one that works right for you. Sixth, this one matters for your specific context. If a system doesn't complete dissolution 100% of the time, does the residual marrow or brain tissue still contain sodium pentobarbital? That's a real liability question for anyone handling euthanized pets. A normal alkaline process should destroy all these drugs, but if there's still marrow left over in brain, in theory, it should still contain some of these drugs. Seventh, is the vendor going to be in business years from now, given the competitive landscape? So look and see if you think, one vendor has a competitive advantage. You don't want to buy something like, buy into Blockbuster when Netflix is coming out. These are the right questions to ask. Any vendor worth your business can answer all of them. I'll close with this. The question isn't whether water cremation becomes standard in pet aftercare. It's how quickly providers position themselves ahead of the curve. Sustainability is no longer an option. It's what families expect and what the planet requires.